Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and today's review, which has been released Friday UK time 12 AM, which is going to mean one thing: it is a brand new club for 2025, and it is this. It is a Wilson Dynapwr Max fairway wood. So I've already reviewed the Wilson Dynapwr carbon drives, so the brand new one, so do check out the channel for that. And I do have the carbon fairway wood as well to review, which is actually currently in my bag. I'll review that probably in the next couple of weeks, so do remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you do not miss out on that. Now, the reason I wanted to review this for you guys is, number one, it's a maximum forgiveness fairway wood, and number two, brand new wise, it actually comes in at a really reasonable price compared to all the other competitors. So as always, we're going to test it, we're going to have a closer look at the club, we're going to come back here, go through all the technology that's in it, get down to the range, going to throw some figures at you, and then we're going to go through the ACS Golf Scale, and I'm going to give you my overall opinion about this club. Why potentially it could be a great option to pick up if you're looking for a brand new fairway wood, but also why it might not be the way to go. So we'll discuss that at the end of the video. Okay, now as always, let's have a closer look at this club. So there you go, and it is a smart looking thing. You know, Wilson have really nailed it over the past couple of years with the, the way their new drivers look. The original Dynapwr stuff looked really good, and the new Dynapwr stuff as well. It just looks really smart, really clean. Top of the head there, it's all titanium, so there's no carbon in this. It just looks clean. It looks a bit like a Titleist, to be fair, which, is never a bad thing. And the head cover as well is just awesome. Head cover game this year from Wilson's been fantastic, really good. Exactly the same throughout the whole range. So it's not like the carbon has a different head cover or anything like that. They keep the same head cover throughout the whole range, which I quite like, to be fair. It is good. Now, getting into all the technology that is in this club off Wilson's website. I have had a few problems with reading Wilson's websites before, especially for the carbon drive I just reviewed, where they actually had the weight system wrong on their own website, which is a bit stupid. But anyway, hopefully we won't have a problem with this one. So, overview. The Dynapwr Max fairway wood promotes high launch stability while maintaining maximum forgiveness across the face. No, perfect. This is the maximum forgiving model. If you want that sort of lower spin, sort of better players one with a bit more distance, then you go for the Wilson Dynapwr Carbon. I'm actually testing a 7 wood as well, by the way, which is always a good thing to test and potentially try, because I'm always thinking about putting a 7 wood in the bag because they are really good clubs. Going further into technology, so we've got the PK R360. So there you go. AI driven design unique to each model creates more ball speed across the entire face. So aids forgiveness, which is perfect. You have rear weight design, so back weighted design, promotes high towering ball flight and also increases MOI, having a big weight at the back there. On this 7 wood, it is a 12-gram weight there. The idea is push all the MOI right to the back. Sorry, all the, I've forgotten the word of it now. Gravity or whatever the name of it is called, push all the weight to the back, helps get that launch up in the air, helps forgiveness and off-centered hits. It is the most popular way, and that's why you see a majority of very forgiving clubs have a lot of weight at the back there to help with that launch and help with that forgiveness. Moving on, you've got sound optimized, so precision rib placement throughout the internal body for muted, powerful sound. I think this sounded lovely. It is an all titanium body, but it definitely wasn't too loud. It was very nice. Personally, I always much prefer the carbon sort of muted sound, but this did sound really good, so can't complain with that. And then you've got a forged face construction. So high strength 455 steel face provides strength and high ball speed. So a lot of these clubs, especially in irons, everything like that now, they're all going to this forged face. It means that they can help increase forgiveness, but also gives you a really nice feel. And I'm not gonna lie, it did feel nice off the face. It was a joy to hit, which is the most important thing. Standard wise, you'd get the Lambkin Cross line 360 black grip, which I got on here. Shaft manufacturer's standard is UST Lin QM40X Red, which I've got in here. I actually got regular. Normally I would play with stiff, but regular for me, it's not that much difference really when it comes down to fairway woods. If anything, actually, sometimes I prefer using a regular fairway wood just because it helps me get that ball up in the air a little bit more, even though it can potentially increase the spin and I can lose some distance. But, you know, they have that Ling M40X shaft, which is not a bad shaft. If you're going down the carbon route, they actually put Ventus in there, just a standard Ventus shaft, which is quite nice. But yeah, not a bad shaft, to be fair. Going through the options, you have a 3 wood, which is 15 degrees. You have a 5 wood, 18 degrees, and a 7 wood, it's 21 degrees. But they also offer a light version as well. So it's even a lighter head, which again in 3 wood, 5 wood, and 7 wood. So plenty of options out there, you know, for the golfer to really, you know, get the right fairway wood for them. Personally, would have liked this sort of model to maybe do a 9 wood. You know, because fairway woods really are sort of, a lot of people are putting more fairway woods in the bag. You know, they're understanding that, hold on, why have I got a 4 iron, or why have I got a 3 hybrid, or something like that. You know, I can put 7 wood in the bag, put a 9 wood in the bag. You know, they're more versatile nowadays, they're more forgiving, getting a little bit more distance out of it, getting a better launch. So, you know, they are becoming really popular. So I would have liked in this model to have seen a 9 wood, but not the end of the world at all. Okay then, so there's all the technology that's in this club. Let's get down to the range. I'm going to throw some figures at you, and then we're going to come back here for the ACS Golf Scale and my overall thoughts. All right, let's see how it does at the range. So here I am down at the range with the Dynapwr, and let's jump straight into those figures. So on average, I had a carry of 198 yards, total distance 207 yards, ball speed 136 miles per hour, launch angle 13 and height 87 feet, which is perfect. You know, really, for a 7 wood, I sort of want to be around that 210 mark, so not far off it. And to get a carry on average 200, you know, with only a rollout of 8 yards, is really, well, sorry, 9 yards, you know, it is really, really good. So really happy with that. Longest on the day was actually 207 carry, total distance 215 yards, you know, launch angle 14, height 93. So when I got the launch, even better. You know, it really did go and did exactly what I want this club to do. Pop it up in the air nicely, easy to hit, and good solid distance across the face. You know, shortest was only 198 yards, but that was a really bad hit, and it didn't quite get the launch right either. But, you know, it still went 198 yards, 200 yards down the middle. So really consistent across the face, as mentioned. Felt really nice, was easy to hit, gave me lots of confidence. So really exactly how you want your fairway wood to perform. So overall, this is, you know, really good club. Figures just in the table for you, and as mentioned, you know, on average 198 yards carry, total distance 207, ball speed 136 miles per hour. You know, that launch 13 degrees. Really happy with these numbers, especially with the longest. You know, that 215, got a few over the 210 to be fair. So generally was really happy, and there's only 1 or 2 below the 200 mark. So really, really solid performance across the board. You know, was forgiving. Distance is good. As I mentioned, I'm happy with the distance. Is this the longest fairway wood in the world? No, it's not, but I don't expect it to be. You know, I want this to be maximum forgiving, and it is. So there you go, and some really good numbers with it, to be fair. For me, anything with a 7 wood, I sort of want around more than sort of 210 total distance, you know, and we did get that too. Well, we didn't, sorry, we were a little bit short, but there were a few shots over that did get over that 210. So generally really happy with it. You know, really did help get that ball up in the air as well, with that centre of gravity right at the back there with that heavy weight. So, you know, really pleased. You know, 198 total carry, really happy with that. 207 yards total distance, really pleased with that. 136 ball speed, happy with that. Launch angle 13, really pleased with it. And 87 feet, you know, it was getting up in the air and it was staying there, which just meant it landed a little bit softly. So, you know, I'm only getting rollout on average of sort of 9 yards there. So really, no, not even 9 yards. Yeah, 9 yards. It is 9 yards. So really, really pleased with that. You know, really good numbers. And then longest on the day was 207 yards carry, 207 yards carry, 215 yards total distance, ball speed 135 miles per hour, but launch angle 14, height 93. Really, really pleased with that, with an 8 yard sort of roll out there. You know, perfect club if you're wanting something that's going to launch it high, you know, and get to the green and stop on the green. You know, I play a 3 hybrid, I don't play a 7 wood. And the 3 hybrid will definitely go that distance. You know, maybe I can push the 3 hybrid a little bit more, but it comes out much lower for me anyway, so I don't get the same stopping power I would with the 7 wood, which makes me think that I should be putting one of these in the bag. I do come back and forth regarding it, and maybe this year one will go in. Not at the moment. It's not in there at the moment. I'm getting on my 3 hybrid, but perhaps, you know, give it a couple of months, I might decide to put one in there, because, you know, figures like this, you know, really, really happy with it. Shortest on the day was 192 yards carry, 198 yards total distance. Ball speed up actually 137 miles an hour. Launch angle though was 12 and high 84. So it just came out a little bit lower off the face. So it didn't quite launch up in the air though. But you know, obviously protected the ball speed, actually increased the ball speed. Still really good numbers, and I would be generally happy with that because it wasn't a great hit. You know, there's quite a few times I really did pepper the face. You know, I'm not the greatest of fairway woods players, definitely something I need to improve in my game 100%. So I definitely tested the forgiveness of this bad boy and it performed really well. So happy with that. Now going on to the ACS golf scale. So remember, we got distance, feel, looks, price and forgiveness. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Going into distance, I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. I think it's got good distance. You know, those numbers were where I'd sort of want this type of club, but it wasn't blowing me away. It wasn't like the longest thing in the world, and I know it won't be because it is built for maximum forgiveness. You know, if you want that low spin or want that really impressive ball speed, impressive distance, then you'd go for the carbon version if you want to stay down the Wilson route. You know, really good distance for what this type of club is, and you won't, you know, you'll be happy with it. It's definitely really good, but don't expect it to be the longest fairway wood you ever tried. It won't be, and that's why it's a 3 out of 5. But sometimes, definitely when it comes to the top of your bag, you're not necessarily looking for distance because you've got to get the right gapping. So with a 7 wood, you know, it could work out really well with this gapping. All right, it's not the longest, but it actually works perfectly for me, and then you get all the forgiveness in it. So it's definitely still worth trying these sort of maximum forgiving clubs, even if you don't get the right distance, because sometimes it can still give you the right gapping. So yeah, 2 out of 5. Good distance, don't expect it to be a rocket because it is not. Moving on to feel, 4 out of 5. Felt nice off the face, you know, felt sort of softer because of that forged face, and I quite enjoyed the noise of it as well, even though it's titanium. It was a bit muted with that rib sort of technology in it. You know, it was just a pleasant thing to hit. You know, so that's why it's 4 out of 5. It was a joy, and it made me want to keep on hitting shots, which is the main thing you want when coming down to testing golf clubs or trying golf clubs or having golf clubs in the bag. You want it to be fun to hit. You know, the last thing you want to do is go, oh God, I don't really want to hit this club. I don't really enjoy it. You know, you want something that's cool, fun, and that is definitely what this Wilson Max club is. You know, really happy with it. So 4 out of 5. Moving on to looks. Looks for me, 4.5 out of 5. It is a smart looking thing. It really is. I really like the looks of this. To be fair, this Max sort of club, you know, I like the shape of the head. I like the way it is, that sort of maximum forgiveness, you know, with the weight at the back. I like the writing. It just looks clean. It really does. Perhaps even will say it looks even cleaner than the carbon model of it, to be honest. It is a very good looking club. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. No complaints there. Moving on to forgiveness, as you'd expect with this, 4.5 out of 5. Do I think it's as forgiving as, say, your pings, you know, your high forgiving pings? No, I don't. So that's why I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5. But it is definitely going to be one of the most forgiving out on the market. I would definitely say that. So it's definitely worth a go if you're looking for maximum forgiveness. You know, 4.5 out of 5 is nothing to shy away from. You know, this thing is really going to protect you from your bad shots. So there you go. And dispersion of it was really good as well, I thought. You know, it was a really good, easy club to hit. And that's the main thing. Easy club to hit, which is you want. So moving on to the final one, and price. So price, I always just look at when it's brand new clubs. I only look at the brand new price for this, and so normally they're around 2.5 or maybe 3, because the price is what they are. It's what you'd expect. For this, I'm actually going to give it 3.5 out of 5 for brand new. You know, in the UK, you can pick it up for £229. In the US, it's just under that $280 mark. You know, and that's a lot cheaper than your main brand. So if we look in the UK market, yeah, £229. If you go TaylorMade, you're looking at £309. You know, £90 more. The G440s, so you know, your pings, £319, even more. The DS adapter is a little bit closer to 289, but again, you know, you're looking at what, 289. You never would have guessed my main job is actually an accountant here. Can't work it out in my brain. So so £60. There we go. So £60 different. You know, again, that's not something to shy away from. That's nearly a lesson, or it's definitely around a golf, you know. And then the Elite, you know, for Callaway is £309. So there's a lot of more expensive clubs out there. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5. I haven't given it any higher than that because fairway woods really haven't changed over the years. I mean, Justin Thomas recently just won the RBC Heritage. You know, he's got a TS3 in his bag and he's got a 915 Titleist, you know, fairway in his bag. You know, they haven't changed. You know, I've seen a lot of YouTubers out there like Peter Finch, you know, PGA professionals who, when he builds a bag for someone, puts in like the TS3 rather than the TSI, the TSR, because he said fairway woods, they really haven't changed over the years. So even though this is a bargain if you're looking for a brand new one, compared to other models where last year models now are the same price or a little bit cheaper, then you go, well, hold on, why don't I just not get the last year's model, because I'm going to get exactly the same performance. So really good if you want brand new, but previous models are going to be just as good as this. So your older TaylorMade QI10s, for example, your Ping G430s, your Cobra Dark Speeds. You know, there's lots of older models out there for sale at the moment. You still get new, still probably get fitted for, and they're going to perform just as well as this. You know, depending on the certain model, maybe a little bit better than this as well. So do be aware of that. So that's why I've given it a 3.5 out of 5. And also, you can't adjust the hosel. So there's no hosel adjustment on this. You know, the TaylorMade, depending on what model you can, you know, they don't always have adjustments, but, you know, G440 does, the DS Adapt obviously very much does at the moment, Callaway as well. So you're sort of not getting that adjustability you would. So maybe you're right, spending an extra £50, especially, well, £60, sorry, for the DS Adapt, you know, well, hold on, you know, if my swing changes, I can adjust it to match my swing. I can increase the loft if the loft isn't working for me. I can decrease the loft if the loft isn't working for me. Or if I'm playing in, you know, a really windy day, maybe I don't want a 7 wood because it's just going to get caught up in the wind, so I'm going to de-loft it by 2, and then, you know, then I'm going to be playing sort of a 5 wood or a 4 wood, you know. So you do lose that option with this club, which is why, again, I've given it 3.5 out of 5. So there you go, guys. There's my review of the Wilson Dynapwr Max fairway wood. Really lovely club, really easy to hit, really enjoyed it. It's fun, it looks really good, the distance is spot on for what I need for this type of club, and the forgiveness is high. Really cool option, and definitely worth a go if you're looking to get a new fairway wood this year or in a couple of years, maybe end of next year, you know, picking this up on the second-hand market. It is definitely worth it. But as I've mentioned, fairway woods really haven't changed, so if you're looking brand new, potentially have a look at previous models. You probably get adjustability with them, you know, you still get the forgiveness, especially if you go to G430, and you might save yourself some money, when really these all perform the same as ones 5, 6, 7 years ago. So there you go. Maybe not Wilson one, maybe if you compare this to a D9 it might not perform the same, but you know, Wilson wise they've definitely improved over the years. So you might, if you're going down the Wilson route, you might want to stick with this or the Dynapwr last year, but for other clubs you definitely got other options out there. All right, guys, now I hope you've enjoyed this review of the Wilson Dynapwr Max fairway wood. If you play Wilson, do let me know down in the comments down below, and let me know your thoughts about them. Remember to give this a like as well, and also do remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out weekly reviews like this and some other stuff as well that's coming up. All right, guys, see you soon for the next ACS golf video. See you then. Bye-bye.